Darius was the king of Babylon.
I have decided to appoint 120 supervisors and governors to help you rule this kingdom. This is the decision I've taken on your behalf.
There lived a person by the name Daniel in that kingdom. Daniel was a great man of faith and prayer. When he had to choose between praying to God or facing death, he was faithful to God.
Oh God, thank you for everything.
Daniel was a man of prayer. He had a habit to pray to God 3 times a day. Nothing could keep him from his prayer. King Darius heard about Daniel. One fine day,
To control the 120 supervisors and governors, I have appointed Daniel with 2 other persons who would be in charge of all of them.
when the 2 persons heard this, they didn't like it. Daniel worked harder and did much better work than any of them.
I am so impressed with Daniel, so I assign all the duties of this kingdom to him.
We have to do something about this Daniel. He is becoming very near and dear to our king. We should throw him out of our way.
We will find some fault against him. The king will definitely throw him away.
No matter how hard they looked, they couldn't find anything wrong with Daniel because Daniel was completely faithful and honest in everything he did. Months passed by.
Until now, we're not able to find any fault against him.
I have an idea. He has a habit of praying thrice a day, which everyone knows. Maybe we can use his religion against him.
That's a better idea.
We must plan to put an end to that Daniel.
They discussed and came up with a tricky plan. They came before King Darius one day and said,
King Darius, may you live forever. We wish that we announce what we think will be best for us all.
What is that? Please come forward and let me hear about it.
All who are there in our kingdom, the supervisors, the governors, the lieutenant governors, and all the other officials, for 30 days, except you, nobody should pray the God. We request you to announce the same. We think it is the best idea. And if anybody should ask for anything from any god, they should be thrown into the lion's den.
I will accept your idea, and I will sign on the scrolls.
It became a law, and that could not be changed. Daniel heard the king's decree.
Why the king has signed this decree? How can people be without praying God? Without asking God, how can we live our life?
But still, the next morning, Daniel went to his window to pray, just as he did every morning, noon, and night. Supervisors were waiting outside his house, looking for this opportunity.
This is what we are looking for.
He has broken the law.
This is the last day for Daniel.
You know we have succeeded in our plan.
They went straight to the king.
Your Majesty, may you live forever. Don't you sign a decree that said, for 30 days no one should ask for anything from any god or man except you. And if anyone should ask for anything, they should be thrown into the lion's den. Isn't it, my king?
There is a man who broke the law in our kingdom.
We saw Daniel praying to his God this morning. He did not respect you and your order.
When King Darius heard this news, he was very sad.
I think this must be a trick. He's a good and honest man who's serving me faithfully. But how can I do injustice to such a man?
And so he worked into the night, trying to find some way to rescue Daniel, but he couldn't. The supervisors came back the next morning and demanded. The king had no choice but to have Daniel thrown into the lion's den. Daniel was called.
O great and mighty king, I am here. Please tell me for what I was called.
May the God who you serve faithfully come and save you.
The king, with a heavy heart, ordered his men.
For disobeying my words in the law, I order Daniel to be thrown into the lion's den. This is my verdict.
And then the king's men grabbed Daniel and walked out. They threw him into a den filled with pacing, roaring, hot-breathed lions.
Close the mouth of the den with the stone and seal it with royal seal, so that no one could move the stone and rescue Daniel.
What have I done? How cruel I was to be unjust to Daniel.
That night, the king could not sleep at all. The first thing the next morning, just as the sun was beginning to rise, the king ran to the lion's den.
Daniel, the true servant of the living God, did the Lord you serve faithfully save you from the lions? Daniel, did he save you? Daniel, Daniel?
May your majesty live forever. God has sent his angel to shut the lions' mouths all through the night. God has saved me so that you will know that I am innocent, and I have served you faithfully. My king, do you believe me?
The king was so happy.
I order you to bring Daniel out from the lion's den.
So Daniel was pulled out. There wasn't even a scratch on him.
Those two guys who accused Daniel should be caught and brought to my court.
We are into trouble.
What will the king do with us?
They both stood before the king.
I strictly order that these two to be thrown to the lion's den.
The lions were not so friendly this time. The king Darius issued a new decree.
Everyone, men and women who live in this world, should definitely honor and serve God.
He is the living God who rules for all time. His kingdom will never end, and his power will last forever. He rescues and he saves. He can do mighty things, for he has saved Daniel from the lion's jaws.